So yes, huge welcome to everyone for joining us this evening. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much for giving up your evening to join us. And as I said, a special thank you to those who it's quite late in the evening. So as I've already said, a couple of housekeeping bits. If you could just keep yourself on mute for now, that would be great. But if you have any comments, any questions, please do pop them in the chat. We're going to have a short presentation and you'll be able to hear from myself and some of the Kids Club Kampala team and some of the Mango Tree team as well. And then at the end we're going to have a time of Q&A. So if you have questions at any point throughout the evening, please do pop them in the chat. If we don't have many questions in the chat, then obviously when we get to the Q&A, feel free to just put your hand up, but it's kind of helpful for us if questions are in the chat so we can help to organise them. And we have received a few questions in advance as well from people who couldn't make it, so we've got a few questions that we're planning to answer already. But just want to say a huge thank you to everyone for joining us. We're here this evening to talk more about and to celebrate this new partnership between Kids Club Kampala and the Mango Tree. We had a couple of in-person events celebrating this at the beginning of April. One in London and one in the Wirral. And thank you to those of you that attended those events. They were a wonderful opportunity to gather our supporters together and for the supporters of the Mango Tree and supporters of Kids Club Kampala to meet, to share together and to celebrate this new partnership. And we recognise that not everybody was able to make those events, which is why we're putting on this event this evening, so that it will be roughly the same format, but for us to be able to celebrate together. And so hopefully you won't feel like you've missed out as we'll be going through everything that we did at the in-person events then. And we're just so pleased that you've joined us this evening, and we just really look forward to telling you all about our plans for the future. As I've said, do continue to introduce yourself in the chat so we can get to know each other. And if you have got questions as we go through, pop them in the chat as well. So just as we start, as a first thing to start, for those of you that don't know, Kids Club Kampala, we are an organisation supporting vulnerable children and families across East Africa to survive and to thrive. And as of the beginning of April, we have now officially partnered with the Mango Tree. So we are now one merged organisation. And to kind of explain a little bit more about this, we've just got a really short video to kick things off. So we're going to run that video now. Great. So hopefully that video just gave you a little bit of a flavour and a bit more of an introduction to Kids Club Kampala and the Mango Tree and to why we're partnering and how this has come about. I would now like to introduce you, if you haven't met, if you don't know, Gail and Willie, and they are the founders of the Mango Tree. And the Mango Tree has been running for 25 years, and they have run this incredible charity, having a huge impact. And we've had the real privilege of working together closely over the last few years, and particularly the last few months, as we work on this partnership together. And I'm just really gonna thank them for being here this evening and for all that they've done over so many years. And I'd just like to hand over now to Gail and to Willie, and Willie's going to explain a little bit more about the partnership. And yeah, thank everybody. So over to you, Willie.
Great. Well, thank you, everyone. I hope you can all hear me. Please put up a hand or a flag or whatever they do if you're having trouble. Yes, so we're very happy to be partnering with Kids Club Kampala. 23 years, not 25 years actually, that we've been supporting orphans in Tanzania and Kenya. Um, and what the Mango Tree has achieved is really the achievement of all our donors. It's not us, it's the donors who have provided all the money, and therefore it's your achievement, not anyone else's. And you should be very proud of what you have achieved, being able to support the education of 27,000 orphans over that time. Yeah, Gail and I have both recently achieved the age of 80, and we think it's not right for us to carry on leading an organization such as the Mango Tree. It's time for fresh ears and fresh eyes and fresh
Minds.
energy. And all the kids clubs that teams seem to be at least half our age, if not a lot younger than that. So it is time for us to be stepping back. That doesn't mean to say that we're disappearing. It does mean to say that we probably won't be writing all the handwritten thank you letters and the handwritten Christmas cards and that sort of thing. But our interest will remain the same. We'll still visit East Africa from time to time. And we've got so many connections particularly with our former beneficiaries, that we're not going to run away at any time. But we will not be so involved in the day-to-day stuff. I mean, today I've just finished a gift aid return and filed that, which will probably be the last one that I do, or maybe there might be just one more. So that's us. Now, reflecting back, if we were starting again, I think that we would have just focused on education. Educating the orphans right through to the end of their time in education is so important, and giving them the opportunity. We've found we've got now doctors and dentists and lawyers and accountants and bankers and engineers of all types and sizes, as well as thousands of teachers and carpenters and electricians and so on. Then everyone we are very proud of all of the achievements of all the young people, because at least they've become independent and are able to contribute to the economies of their countries, and that is fantastic. We've discovered there are no shortage of entrepreneurs in Africa, and I think that most of the other activities that we did get involved in, I think on reflection, I'd have put more of that money just into teaching and probably teacher training, because there's an awful need for much better teacher training in Africa. I think probably the most important thing that we did was to provide psychosocial support for the orphans. And I don't think we realized this when we set off. But training our village volunteers to approach the children that they were keeping an eye on, who they were mentoring, to approach them as friends rather than as adults, had a great impact. Very early on, we read a comment from a family of orphans from Zambia who said that when our parents died, our neighbors and our families were very kind to us. They brought us food, they brought us clothing, but no one asked us how we were feeling. And of course, they were feeling anger. They had no ability to express or to ask questions or to really to come to terms with grieving for the death of their parents. And that lack of psychosocial support that they had really was very profound. And I think that's what we did. So we were able to do throughout the network of village volunteers, which enabled the young people to come to terms with life is life and to move on. And that I think was a really, and it cost us nothing to do that, but that was probably the biggest impact. Certainly talking to our former beneficiaries, they will say that that was probably the biggest starting point that they had as able to come to terms with their loss. Now, of course, apart from education, we did provide things like holiday tuition, and that was actually given for primary school children. It was given by the secondary school children, and the secondary school it was from the tertiary school children. And that holiday tuition, together with the sporting events and the playwriting that kids did, all that helped to set them up and provide them with the confidence to face the challenges of the world. Now, we stopped registering orphans in 2012, but a lot of the kids that we'd registered at that time are still now only early teenagers. So whilst we're stepping back, that doesn't mean to say that we don't need to continue receiving donations, because those ones that we registered only 10 or 12 years ago, they've still got a long way to go with their education. We've probably got another 8 or 10 years to go. Now, we have set aside a fair chunk of money for an education fund to see through most of that, most of the obligations that we have for those children, but we could still do with some more. So we do hope that you will continue with your standing orders and our support. We've had a very good response to that so far, and it would be great if those attending this evening could also find a way of continuing to support Kids Club and the Mango Tree by continuing their Mango Tree standing orders. Good, right. We're very happy with the Kids Club. They espouse the same values that we do. Their approach to looking after orphans is very similar to the way that we are, and so we can see that going forward, where the Mango Tree will be in very good hands. Life has changed from when we starting off in 2002. In those days, we could walk through our villages in both Tanzania and in Kenya, and we could find old people and young people, very young kids and very old people. Anyone who was economically active had died because they were economically active and sexually active, and they'd caught AIDS and they had died. So the result of that was that the traditional African extended family system just had collapsed completely. There was no agriculture going on in our villages. It was just literally old people and very young kids. That has changed because the next generation have now grown up and they're well able now to support orphans, there are still orphans being created, not so much from HIV, but from other illnesses and from road accidents and all the rest of it. But the extended family system can now cope with the numbers of young people that they need to look after. And I think that if we carried on doing as we had been doing in these communities, we'd have just been stifling local philanthropy. And that's the last thing we want to do. So I think this is the time to be pulling back from educating orphans. That's not to say that street kids have got, which is more the work of Kids Club. That's a very different kettle of fish and one that will still need looking after for many years to come. So I think that's really all I have to say for the moment, but later on, very happy to take questions from anyone.
Right. Thank you so much, Willie and Gail. Thank you so much for your incredible legacy and for explaining so eloquently about the mango tree and about the partnership. And yes, as Willie said, our values are really aligned, and we've just got so much synergy. What Willie was saying about the psychosocial support, that that was really one of the foundations that Kids for Kampala was built on, which I think Sam will touch on later. But that yes, you can help people with practical things, but it's just asking people how they are and showing that love and care and support. And yeah, so I think our partnership makes a lot of sense, and it's really exciting. We now have another short video to show you, which shows some of the mango tree projects in a little bit more detail. And then after that, we will hear from some of the mango tree team in Kenya. But just a reminder, if you have any questions at any point, please do pop them in the chat. And if you haven't introduced yourself, say hi in the chat, and then we will answer any questions at the end. So yes, we've just got another short video for you now, and then I will hand over and introduce some of the Mango Tree Kenya team.
If you look from the beginnings of the mango tree, it was really to respond to the desperate need for orphans and vulnerable children, to give them a future and work with them within their communities, to empower their communities to be able to take care of the orphans and give them a future. The orphan is living in a community, and within the community the orphan is living in a family. So how do we ensure that the whole system is empowered, so that it's not only the individual child that is going to school, but the environment in which the child is living in is improved?
Great. And the person speaking in that video, Consolata, is the director of the Mango Trees programs in Kenya. And I'm really pleased that we have Consolata joining us on the call this evening. Consolata was planning on coming to the UK for our in-person events earlier last month, but unfortunately, due to family circumstances, tragically wasn't able to attend. But I'm really pleased that Consolata is able to join us this evening. And I'd just like to hand over to her now just to say a few words, introduce herself to everyone who hasn't yet met her, and to talk a little bit more about the partnership as well.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Consolata Kunyada. Sitting right next to me is Peter Kunyada, my husband, with whom we started working for the Mango Tree Kenya, and we've continued to do, and even extended into Malawi. Yes, I wasn't able to attend the meeting in the UK because my daughter had a very a tragic accident in school where a big tree branch fell on her, and she got a lot of damages on the abdomen, on the head, on the spine, and she was for more than 6 weeks in intensive care unit. At the moment, she's continuing with neurological rehabilitation. So that is why I missed that. But just to come to the point, even during this experience of taking care of our daughter, Katie, we've found that what we have built with the mango tree was very, very special, because there's been a very strong community support around us. The alumni, the young people, that we have supported through education came together, created a WhatsApp group, which we now use in Kenya to support, to do contributions towards medical fund or any form of need. That is one thing Kenya is using today. But that overwhelming support, when we called for blood donations, they just came, and they didn't come alone. They came with their friends, with their wives, with friends, with workmates, and it just became one big family supporting. So yes, Mango Tree Kenya has matured. Mango Tree Kenya has grown, and we've seen the community transformed in many ways. And as Willie has said, the truth is, it is education that has been the strong pillar that has ensured that our children are being educated, and that children, these young people grow into very empowered adults who are able to take care of themselves, but also take care of their communities, and then give back to society. So reflecting on the merger, I had someone send me 4 questions to answer about the merger, which I will share with you, because that perhaps gives a summary of the way that I see the merger between the Mango Tree Kenya and Kids Club Kampala. So the first question was saying, it is important that mergers are meaningful and not just done so that organizations can tick off a box about decolonization and localization. And the person was asking me, how can this be done? And my response says, yes, absolutely. Mergers should be something more meaningful. Mergers must be rooted in trust, shared values, and genuine commitment to equitable partnership, not optics. For us, meaningful collaborations means investing time in building mutual understanding, co-designing strategies, and allowing local expertise to lead. Localization and decolonizations aren't boxes to tick. They are long-term commitments to dismantling power imbalances and ensuring that communities have agency over their own development. That is why our partnership, as I see, is anchored in joint governance, shared accountability, and transparent learning rather than symbolic alignments. And the second question the person asked was, why is the merger with Kids Club important, and what are you hoping to get out of this? And my response is, this collaboration with Kids Club Kampala is important because it represents values aligned, strategic shift towards sustainable, locally led impact. We are not merging to absorb or be absorbed. We are coming together to strengthen each other. We share similar missions around education, dignity, and equity for vulnerable children. We believe that by working together, we can amplify our voices, innovate more boldly, and influence systemic change more effectively. We hope to co-learn, scale good practices, and jointly influence the global development space in a way that truly centers African leadership. The third one says, do you think that many charities are merging just for the sake of it or to try to cut costs? There is real danger that some mergers are driven by survival instincts or pressure to reduce overheads without deeper strategic or ethical reflections. When that happens, the core mission often gets diluted and power structures remain unchanged. But mergers done well, grounded on shared purpose, mutual respect, and inclusive governance can lead to stronger, more resilient organizations. So for us, this is not a cost-saving exercise. It is about long-term transformation, sustainability, and truly embodying the principles of solidarity and dignity in development. So that fourth question, which is how is the atmosphere for funding at the moment? And do you think that the merger will help with funding constraints?
Yeah, truly. The funding landscape is undeniably tough. Global crisis, donor fatigue, and shifting priorities have made it harder for organizations like ours to secure consistency. Well, the recent experience of US Trump withdrawing, that's just one of the things. So we are looking at long-term funding. That said, funders are increasingly recognizing the value of local-led approaches and are looking for models that demonstrate genuine impact, accountability, and partnership. We believe this collaboration strengthens our ability to access such funding, not just because we are bigger, like Kids Kampala and Mango Tree, or more efficient, but because we are more credible together. And this brings a deeper collective story of community-led impact. And we hope that this speaks to funders who want their resources to drive lasting change. So these are the 4 areas that we look at our mergers, Kids Club, Kampala, and Mango Tree, like binding us together.
So we want to thank you all, our donors who've supported us for the many years that we have existed. We truly testify that a lot has happened in our communities because of your support. And as I've said, we are not, even though the Mango Tree UK is handing over the baton to us, and yes, we're going to be working to raise more funds because orphans continue. We've not stopped having orphans in our communities. And even though the group that we still have, that we registered together with UK, the Mango Tree UK, have the legacy that we are talking about, we still have more vulnerable children that we take in. Our new school is an example where we have girls from very vulnerable backgrounds coming in and needing our support. And really, again, we're very grateful that we had very huge support from you during the appeal, the Radio 4 appeal that was targeting our school. So thank you for all the many years of support, and we request that as we struggle to find ways of doing social enterprise, of looking at the social enterprise model of running organizations like ours, as we look in that direction, we can still continue to support poor children and sustainably with your support and the support of many others. So please continue to support us, and please watch us as we work together with Kids Club to bring synergy, to bring a strong group that will even do more transformation in Africa. So thank you very much for listening.
Thank you so much, Consolata, and Peter as well. Really, really inspiring hearing from you both. And yes, this is a lot of what the partnership is about. Is we have a commitment to locally led development. We have a commitment to shifting the power. We have a commitment to decolonisation of aid, and that's why we're partnering with the Mango Tree, because we recognise they have these shared values as ours. And it's really inspiring to hear from you both. And yes, we're really, really excited about working with you and increasing our collective impact together. Again, from If anyone has any further questions for Consolata or for Peter, then do pop them in the chat and we will answer them at the end. And just to say as well, there's been lots of comments in the chat for both of you that lots of people are thinking of you both and praying for Katie and keeping your family situation. So I'd now like to jump from one very inspiring locally based leader to another. I'd now like to hand over to Sam Wambayo, who is co-founder of Kids for Kampala and heads up Kids for Kampala in Uganda. Sam and Consolata have met and are going to be working together in East Africa. It's not going to be all run from the UK at all. As Consolata said, we've got a commitment to being locally led and fully sustainable. So I'd now like to hand over to Sam, who's going to say a few words about the partnership from his perspective as well. So over to you, Sam. I think you're on mute, Sam. Great.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for making it a choice to be with us tonight. I want to start by recognizing in a special way Consolata and your husband, Mr. Kunyanda, for basically taking off your time to be with us during this challenging moment for you as a family. Together, as Kids Club and the whole Mango Tree, we've been praying for you and just to encourage you that, we are still in prayer. We are still in prayer and we pray that Katie will recover well. So please be encouraged and be strengthened. But I basically want to thank you, for you to offer to be around, in such a challenging moment. As introduced, my name is Samuel Wambayo, co-founder and the executive director of Kids Club Kampala here. The weather is nice and sunny, except that the effects of the aid cut are heavily felt in every sector here in Uganda. And as a person at the forefront of fighting poverty, I want to re-echo the need for foreign aid. To use myself as an example, I wouldn't be here, for example, if Fiona Watson from Canada didn't take a bait on me and be like, I see potential in this young man and sponsored my education to be who I am. So I want to say for all of us who are on this call this evening, that thank you. Thank you for being with us. Thank you for having trust in this cause. And thank you for everything that you do to support the people out there to get them out of poverty. You are indeed the people that are creating change in this world. And every time any mindset or any doubts arise in you about international development, I want you to remember me, remember myself as a testimony to international development, but also to remind us that even though several governments, we have had what is happening in the US, Sir Starmer as well insisted with his aid cuts. I want to encourage us that international development, the aid still works. All we have to do is to rethink it, but not to get rid of it. We can rethink it and see how best we can balance it with international aid. I mean, with trade and international aid. We basically have to rethink it, but it still works. And I want to encourage every one of us. If you get access to any MP, if you get access to any legislator, let's remind them that this is still needed. Willie just mentioned about the need that is still there. And I remember at some point he did mention about his interests in DRC Congo. You know, so many people are struggling in DRC Congo. So many people are struggling in Sudan and the South Sudan. But here in Uganda as well, thousands have been laid off of their jobs. And what are we creating? We are creating more poverty because these who are crossing over to the middle income are sliding back into the poverty bracket. So our need and our response as international development charities has never been there, has never been great like now. So together, as we are coming together, you can clearly see that we have a lot of work to do. And I want to encourage the team in Kenya that indeed we will work together. We will work together because there's a lot of work that we have to do. We will look at the locally available resources. We will see how we will harness them, but also look at the strength that we have from coming together as an organization. There's more strength in us getting together, and indeed, we shall make it. I also want to honor Willie and Gail in a special way for running this race and passing on the baton to the KCK team. You know, they say it is very important for you to run the race, but very, very important for you to know when and how to pass on the baton. And indeed, I can tell that Willie and Gail, you are people of great wisdom and charisma. It takes a great leader to identify one. So thank you very much. And a promise from us as KCK team and from myself that I will do everything possible within my strength to make sure that your vision and your wishes come to pass, never to be disappointed. I really thank you. I am also very confident in this partnership. You know, it will bring with it a combined effort, experiences, resources in tackling poverty. Together, the impact will be bigger. Together, even as we grapple with, you know, support here and there, you know, the question of support, the question of funding still lingers in our minds, but together we will make it. I thank you, everyone. May God bless you.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. Yes, really, really inspiring, and yes, completely agree with you. You know, I'm 100% agree with you. Aid matters, development matters. It's really important that this continues, and yes, the work that has been achieved over the past 23 years by the Mango Tree and over the past 16 years by Kids Club Kampala wouldn't have been possible if we didn't both have a commitment to development and to making communities who are less fortunate than our communities in the West, to make sure that they are supported and cared for. So thank you, Sam. It's really great to hear from you. And yes, just want to say again a huge thank you to everyone who's here this evening, who is joining us. And I hope that you've enjoyed hearing a bit more about the partnership between Kids Club Kampala and the Mango Tree. And I hope that you've enjoyed hearing from Willie and Gail, from Consolata and Peter, and from Sam as well. And on behalf of everyone at Kids Club Kampala UK, just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been part of this behind the scenes. We've got a number of trustees on the call. We've got a number of donors and staff team as well. And just want to say a huge thank you for everything that you have done behind the scenes to kind of get this partnership and this merger moving. It's been a lot of work, but it's been a real privilege to be a part of it. And again, on behalf of everyone at Kids Club Kampala, I just want to say it's an honour and a privilege to partner with the Mango Tree in this way. And as Sam said, to be able to carry on the significant legacy of Willie and Gail. And thank you to everyone who has supported the Mango Tree over the past 23 years. Thank you everyone who has donated or continues to support to today. Your generosity, dedication and commitment really has made an incredible difference in the lives of so many. And for those of you who are on the call who maybe don't know much about Kids Club Kampala, we're a UK charity supporting vulnerable children and families across East Africa to survive and to thrive. Our mission is to transform children's lives, empower communities, and reduce poverty throughout East Africa. We've been doing this over 16 years throughout Uganda. We started just in Kampala. We now work nationally throughout Uganda. And thanks to this partnership, we are now able to support communities through the Mango Tree in Kenya and Tanzania as well. And we work really hard to both practically meet people's immediate needs whilst also working on long-term solutions to end poverty. And again, I know that is what the Mango Tree has been committed to doing as well, meeting people's immediate needs, but also working on long-term solutions to end poverty through education. And at Kids Club Kampala over the last 15 years, just a few stats for you. Over the last 15 years, we have provided over 45 million meals to hungry children. We've supported over 7,000 vulnerable young people with counselling. We've rescued hundreds of children from abandonment and abuse and helped reunite them with loving families. We've given the gift of free education to almost 2,000 children, provided vital skills training to over 1,000 vulnerable adults, and we have reached and helped over 1.5 million people across all of our programmes over the past 16 years. And over the past 23 years, the Mango Tree has supported over 1 million people as well. And their stats are absolutely staggering. They've provided over 27,000 children with free education and have provided sustainable livelihoods, breaking the cycle of poverty for over 230,000 people. It's absolutely staggering. And again, a huge thank you and a huge well done to Willie and Gail and all of the Mango Tree team, and of course to Consolata and Peter and all of the team in Kenya and Tanzania as well. And when we combine our collective impacts, we honestly believe that we will be unstoppable. I've already mentioned, but we share the same values. We have a really similar ethos. Our programs are really aligned. And most importantly, we both have a commitment to ensuring that the needs of vulnerable children across East Africa are met. And this is why we're partnering. We're partnering because we believe that we are stronger together. We're partnering to increase our collective impact through joining forces. And by combining UK offices, we will be reducing operational costs and overheads, bringing efficiencies and sharing learning and resources with each other. And ultimately, together, we'll be able to bring more hope to more communities and be able to benefit more vulnerable children and families through scaling up our work, deepening our impact, and expanding our reach and our programmes throughout Uganda, Kenya, and Tanzania, and maybe even beyond. And together we can create even more life-changing opportunities for children in need across East Africa. But as I'm sure you're aware, we cannot do this alone. Both Kids Club Kampala and the Mango Tree also have in common the fact that we are organisations that rely solely on the generosity of other people. And believe me, we've never been more needed. We've already heard from Sam about the importance of aid and development, and Consolata and Peter have also touched on what the devastating impacts it has been of the recent UK aid and US aid cuts. It's really having a devastating impact. On top of this, the global cost of living crisis and the climate crisis. There's so many issues that are disproportionately affecting East Africa. And they're still reeling from the effects of the COVID pandemic. Just in Uganda, for example, they had the longest school closures in the world for almost 2 years. The need is increasing as poverty sadly is increasing, but also the demand for our work is increasing, but at the same time costs are increasing, and available services are reducing. It's really, really a terrible, terrible melting pot of seeing the need increase and the demand increase, but also costs increase, but then the pool of available funding shrinking, as not only are we no longer able to apply for UK aid funding or anything like that, but also bigger organisations who had US aid funding or UK aid funding, and we are now competing with them for the same limited pots of funding. So it really is a very, very challenging time. Yet, despite this, we do have hope. You know, we envision a world where every child, regardless of their backgrounds or where they are born, has the opportunity to reach their full potential. And together, through partnering with the Mango Tree and through this merger, Kids Club Kampala has an ambitious vision to together make a tangible impact in over 5 million lives over the next 10 years. But we can't do this. We can't do this without you, without your support. So again, thank you to everyone who's given generously to the Mango Tree and to Kids Club Kampala. And we're here to celebrate this partnership, and all that we've collectively achieved. But we do hope, and I just want to echo what Willie has said and what Sam and Consolata have said as well. We really do hope that you will continue to partner with us for the future. It is a really challenging time, funding wise at the moment. So any support or help that you could give us is really appreciated. If you would like to make a donation tonight, that would be wonderful. And there'll be a link in the chat of how you can do that. But also we'd love to keep in touch with you. If this is your first time sort of interacting with Kids Club Kampala, then do sign up to our newsletter. And again, we'll pop a link in the chat to that if you're interested in hearing more about our work and staying in touch with us and keeping up to date with the development of our partnership and merger. You can also follow us on social media. But I guess I just want to close by saying again, huge thank you for you coming here this evening, for your continued support for Kids Club Kampala and for the Mango Tree. And here's to a really bright future together. So thank you. We've got a bit of time to have some questions. I was trying to wrap up quickly. So if you would like to answer any questions, we can do that. I'm just going to have a look to see what questions we've had coming through on the chat. We've had lots of appreciation for Consolata and Peter, and lots of prayers for Katie, and lots of appreciation for Sam and for Willie and Gail as well. Had one question asking about, a lovely question. I love this question. How is it possible to donate to Kids Club Kampala? Yes, we do have a UK bank account. We are a UK registered charity, as well as being a registered NGO in Uganda. We're a UK registered charity, and yes, we have a UK bank account. Lauren has popped in the chat a link to make a donation. That's our online donation form on the website. That if you'd rather not make a donation through our website and you'd like to do that via bank transfer or anything like that, then do just drop us a message and we can send you those details as well. Do we have any other questions? I know we had some questions sent through in advance. Yes, here we go. One question was, will the mission or focus of the charity change through merging? And the answer is no. Our mission will not change and our focus will not change. As I hope that you've heard this evening, our Kids Club Kampala and the Mango Tree have a very similar vision, very similar mission, similar values, similar ethos, and no, our mission will not change. For Kids Club Kampala for the past 15 years, our mission has been supporting vulnerable children and ensuring that their needs are met both practically but also supporting long-term poverty reduction. And that is the essence of the Mango Tree as well. So our vision, our mission and focus won't change. The main thing that's changing is our geographical reach and spread is growing as we merge and as we partner together. But we believe that through doing this, we will be able to have a greater impact and a greater mission together. So thank you for that question. What will happen to my donations now the organisations have partnered? So if you are making a donation to the Mango Tree, so if you have a regular gift that goes to the Mango Tree, that will stay going to the Mango Tree for now. If you have a donation that is restricted to a specific program, then that won't change. If you're giving to a specific project through the Mango Tree or a specific project through Kids Club Kampala, things won't change with donations. Within time, we will probably look to move all donations through to the Kids Club Kampala platforms, but that won't happen immediately. But the donations, if it's given for a specific project or a specific purpose or to sponsor a specific child, then that will not change. And we've got very robust financial systems and processes. It just means that, as I said, by partnering, we can increase our collective impact, and your donation will actually go further to being able to help more people. Another great question. Are we hoping to expand operations within East Africa? I think at the moment, we are just focusing on this merger and the partnership and making sure it goes really, really well. So enabling the programs that are already happening in Uganda and already happening in Kenya and in Tanzania are running as smoothly and effectively as possible and as sustainably as possible. Within time, we would love to be able to support more communities in need in East Africa, and particularly reaching the poorest communities and the poorest countries in need, and that's something we would love to do in the future. Probably not the short-term future, but yeah, you never know what's happened. Watch this space. Another question: did Kids Club have any involvement with the girls' secondary school previously? Within Kenya, so Kids Club Kampala has just been involved from this point with the merger. So we haven't been involved with the building of the girls' secondary school in Kenya. That has all been run through the Mango Tree and fundraised for by the Mango Tree UK, and then run and managed by Consolata. But obviously, going forward, donations that are specifically for that project will be going specifically to that, and we'll be able to support that school to have more impact. Thank you to everyone for your nice comments. There's been lots of nice comments coming through on the chat. Another question: how have the recent UK aid, US aid budget cuts impacted your programs on the ground? I don't know if Sam or Consolata, you want to chip in here. I know we've already touched on it, but it's had a huge negative impact. I think for us, we weren't in Uganda anyway. We weren't in receipt of any UK aid or US aid grants currently. We had funding from them in the past. So we didn't necessarily sort of lose funding overnight or have to close programs overnight. But as I kind of mentioned earlier, it's having a huge negative knock-on effect. There are other organisations that were reliant on US aid funding, UK aid funding, that have closed, and we are there mopping up that demand and meeting that need that is no longer being met because those organisations have closed. Also, those organisations who were previously reliant on UK aid or US aid funding are now looking for other sources of funding. So essentially the competition for funding is getting even more fierce, and we're having to now compete with more larger, more experienced partners for a limited pot of resources. So it's really challenging. I'm just, Consolata, I see you've got your hands up. So I'm just going to hand over to Consolata to give a bit more context as to what the impacts are on the ground in Kenya as well.
Yeah, I just want to say that we were directly affected because there's a project that we're running that was being funded by USAID through CDC that is supporting children who are HIV positive and their families. A number of these children we had admitted the girls into our girls' boarding secondary school, and there was a promise that we would have, fees would be paid for them. But when this year came, there was no fees, but also we had to stop operations for a while. When we resumed, they said strictly medical, and psychosocial support, nothing to do with school fees. So we have a number of children that we admitted in the school that now do not have any support whatsoever from the program. Generally, yes, there's a lot of issues. Hospitals, staff, people who are employed to work in hospitals that are even caring for these people with HIV, advising them on drugs and things. Many of them have had to go home. And so the village volunteers or community health workers are having to shoulder the burden, but with very little support. So, and we were a bit scared when we were wondering what was going to happen to the children that are on drugs, HIV drugs, and are in our school. But luckily, that was reinstated, and we hope it continues. We've only been told it will go until September this year. So after September, we don't know what happens with the drugs issue, but also still we are wondering how we continue to help the children we had admitted in our school to go to school. So yes, it's been a big challenge for us.
So sorry, it's just absolutely devastating, isn't it? It's really, really shocking. And again, I just reiterate, this is why we've never needed funding more than we currently do, as it's really difficult right now. So yeah, really, really sorry to hear that. And yeah, we are going to do what we can to support. I'm aware of time. Did anyone have any other questions, any burning questions I don't think I've missed any questions in the chat. If I do, just shout. And if anyone has any other questions, please just put your hand up. But if we don't have any more questions, then I think we can leave it there. Huge thank you to everyone for joining us this evening. Thank you again. Really appreciate your support, really appreciate your kind comments and really insightful questions. If you go away from here and you suddenly have a question that you've forgotten to ask, do just get in touch, drop us an email, and we'd be more than happy to have a further conversation. If you're interested in making a donation, the link is in the chat, but if you'd like any more details about that, then again, do just get in touch. If you'd like to sign up to join our newsletter to find out more, or do follow us on social media as well. But just want to say a huge thank you to everybody. And I hope you've enjoyed the evening.